Okay, Dr. Theodore Naiman here again, family medicine doctor in Seattle. And I want to talk to you about how to exercise optimally. And for some reason, I can't talk about this stuff without drawing a picture. So I'm going to draw a graph, or an illustration rather, of the various types of muscle fibers. And we're going to talk about it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there's four basic types of muscle fibers. You've got your type 1, then you've got your types 2A, 2A, 2B, and 2X. Who cares, right? Blah, 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 whatever. Okay, well, here's the point. Your body is always trying to be as efficient as possible. We try to conserve all our energy, conserve all our resources, and do everything as efficiently as possible. And for this reason, your body loves type 1 muscle. Type 1 muscle is very inexpensive metabolically to have on your body or to use. It costs almost nothing for your body to utilize type 1 muscle. It's very cheap. Utilizing type 1 muscle doesn't cost very much. Having it on your body at all times doesn't cost your body much. It doesn't increase your basal metabolic rate or your need for calories when you're resting. Type 1 muscle fiber is very efficient. It's also very small. No weightlifter has ever really been excited about type 1 muscle. Very small, very lean, very efficient. And your body wants to use this muscle fiber for everything because it's so inexpensive metabolically. So, type 1 is what your body uses anytime you're doing something that you have to do for a long time. Like if you'd have to do it for a half an hour or an hour or more, your body's going to use type 1 muscle fiber. Jogging, pure type 1 muscle. You could do that maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, maybe all day if you're an ultramarathoner. Type 1 muscle. Elliptical machine, Stairmaster, the spinning class, type 1 muscle fiber. Also your daily activities, just walking, talking, moving your arms, just your day-to-day little things you're doing, you're using just type 1 muscle fiber. In fact, anything you do up to about 70% of your maximum exertion, your body is going to accomplish with just your type 1 muscle fibers. And you're going to burn hardly any calories. And your body's going to be very happy. It's going to say, hey, look how inexpensively and efficiently I got this chore accomplished. Yay. Okay. Unfortunately, it's not very helpful if you're trying to be stronger or perform better, or if you're trying to convince your body to utilize more calories or be more metabolically active. You really want to increase the amount of type 2 muscle on your body. How do you do that? Well, okay, so let's say you're doing something that requires more than 70% of your maximum effort. Let's say your car runs out of gas. Okay, your car runs out of gas, and you start pushing your car. If it's a really light car and you're on a very level or maybe slightly downhill, okay, you could push it for quite some time. Maybe you're only using 70%. But if your car is really heavy or you're uphill at all, maybe you're dipping into 80% of your maximum exertion. And now your body's like, oh hey, I can't do this with type 1 muscle. I'm kind of failing, so I'm going to have to dip into my type 2A muscle. I don't like to do that because it's more expensive. It burns glycogen, which is the stored energy in the muscle. It's going to burn glycogen, and I could not do this all day long. I could maybe do that, 15 minutes maximum. Your body doesn't like to do it, but if it has to, it will grudgingly dip down into your type 2A muscle. Now let's say you're actually trying to push your car up a little bit of an incline, and it's just really hard. I mean, you're pushing and pushing, and if you fail at the type 2A muscle level, your body will grudgingly dip down into the type 2B muscles. Maybe you're at 90% now of your maximum exertion. Your body does not like to do this. It is not happy. But, okay, you have to do it. You have to push your car. So you're pushing with 90% of your maximum effort. This is very expensive. You're just ripping through the glycogen now. You could maybe do this for 5 minutes maximum. Now let's say you're pushing your car up a slight incline. You're using 90% of your force, and then someone puts on your emergency brake. Now you have to push just literally as hard as you can. 100% exertion. Your body hates this, but it will dip down into this type 2X muscle fiber. And this is extremely metabolically expensive. You could burn up your whole body's glycogen in maybe a minute and a half. Incredibly expensive. Your body does not like to do this. It only wants to do this in extreme emergencies. Now, here's the secret. If you are pushing as hard as you can, 100% maximum force, type 2X muscle fibers, you're utilizing every muscle fiber you've got, all the way down to your 2X. And if you still reach a point where you absolutely fail, you literally cannot move, you're pushing as hard as you humanly can, and you absolutely fail and reach a point where you cannot move your car, you've reached what we call maximum muscle failure. And if you do that and hold it for as long as you can until you just collapse on the ground, well, congratulations, you've just sent a signal to your body. And the signal is, you're not strong enough. We're going to die. Next time we're going to get crushed by a boulder or eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or whatever evolutionary thing your body's thinking. This sort of maximum effort with failure sends a strong message to your body that it's totally inadequate the way it is. And your body responds in a really big way. It's like a giant emergency siren goes off in your body. And your body's like, oh my God, we almost died. Look at this. We tried as hard as we could and we still couldn't even move. This can happen. We need more type 2 muscle in case this ever happens again. We almost died this time, but we have to live. So we are going to work on building more of this muscle. This huge metabolic process goes off in your body. It's a giant hormonal flush. All your glycogen gets burned up and depleted. Your insulin sensitivity gets much, much better over a period of time. You're building muscle. You're going through this whole stress response in order to improve your body. So next time you won't almost die when you hit this failure. And over the next several days, your body actually puts down more type 2 muscle. This stuff is great. If you put on a pound of type 2 muscle, it literally burns 300 calories just in your sleep. This stuff is very metabolically expensive. It's constantly burning calories, and when you put on more type 2 muscle, it's literally burning calories 24/7 even at rest. It's very expensive for your body to have this muscle mass just on your body, and when you utilize it, it's extremely expensive metabolically, burning up all your glycogen, flushing out all the glucose out of your body, resetting your insulin sensitivity. Powerful stuff. The only way to improve your body with exercise is to hit maximum effort failure. Take jogging, for example. Jogging. Okay, I could jog for an hour. I'm using my type 1 muscle. My body can handle it. Maybe I'll get all hot and sweaty and winded. But it's not a big deal. I burn a few calories. Who cares? To burn 1 pound of fat, an average person would have to jog 30 miles. So type 1 exercise is not a good way to lower body fat percent. It's not a good way to get stronger. It's not a good way to build actual useful strength muscle or muscle that's useful metabolically. It's really not good for much of anything. It burns a few calories. Who cares? You eat a muffin and you just totally negated all your exercise. Your traditional exercise of jogging or walking is really not that helpful. It doesn't stress your body. You have to send a message to your body that it's inadequate in order to get a response. And you can only do that with high intensity training or maximum effort exercise. As it turns out, it only takes about a minute of maximum 100% effort to completely deplete your muscle of glycogen and send that message that your muscle is completely not adequate for the tasks it needs to be. So here's how this works. Okay. It turns out you can exercise your whole body with just a few simple movements. Horizontal pushing movement, horizontal pulling movement, vertical pushing movement, vertical pulling movement, and then some sort of compound leg movement like a squat or a leg press. So how do you actually go about doing this? Well, let's say horizontal pushing movement. You're doing a push-up. If you can't do a regular push-up, you do a push-up on your knees. If you can't do a push-up on your knees, you do a push-up against a wall. But the point is, you're doing a push-up. You go incredibly slow, perfect form, 10 seconds up, 10 seconds down, extremely slow. Your goal here is not to do a certain number of push-ups. Your goal here is to hit muscle failure. So you purposefully make the push-up as hard as you possibly can by going incredibly slow and with perfect form. Your goal here is to hit failure and exhaust and fatigue your muscles. So you don't want to cheat or use bad form or go fast and use inertia. Perfectly straight form, very slow, and you go do your push-ups until you feel like you literally couldn't do a single more push-up. And then you pretend someone put a gun to your head and made you do one more push-up. And so you do as many push-ups as you literally humanly possibly can. And then when you can't do another one, you still do one more. And then when you definitely can't do another one, you hold it at the hardest point for 10 seconds. And then when you're just really about to die, you let yourself down as slow as you can, and then you collapse on the ground. And as long as you've had a good solid, I'd say 30 to 60 seconds of extreme failure style fatigue of those muscles, you have just sent a big message to these muscles that they need to get stronger. And over the next few days, your body responds. You'll actually put on type 2 muscle. You'll actually get stronger. You'll actually improve your metabolism. You'll actually be burning more calories in your sleep. A lot of magical stuff happens that never happens with type 1 exercise, which is all your standard cardio and your jogging and your elliptical and your walking. The proper workout is very, very brief. You only have to spend a minute or two on each major muscle group, but the secret is intensity. You have to absolutely fail. You have to go until you literally can't do another one and then still do another one. These workouts are very brutal, but they're extremely short and very powerful. You can always trade duration for intensity. I recommend people also do some sort of brief sprint type exercise to subject the cardiovascular system to the same kind of stress. But exercise physiology studies have shown that if you sprint for 4 minutes as fast as you can, even starting and stopping as necessary, a 4-minute sprint is superior by about 40% to jogging at a moderate pace for an hour or walking all day long. So you can always trade intensity for duration. I recommend people do a super high intensity sprint exercise for maybe 5 minutes, jumping rope, just sprinting, actually running, sprinting, maybe a sprint on a spin bike, something sprint, highest intensity you can stand for a few minutes, and then do a max effort to failure series of resistance exercises, horizontal push and pull. That could be a row, a push-up, a vertical press, a pull down, and then some sort of compound leg exercise like a squat. Anyway, always remember, when it comes to exercise, you have to communicate to your body that it's inadequate, and you can only do that by failing, completely failing. Luckily, it's pretty easy. Do perfect form push-ups, 10 seconds up, 10 seconds down. You'll hit failure in maybe a minute or two tops. I mean, it's really quick. But that form of exercise is more metabolically advantageous than jogging for an hour. Look at an elite ultra marathoner. These people they almost look like a walking skeleton. They're just sticks. Their arms and legs are so tiny. What's happened to these people is their body has reabsorbed all their type 2 muscle and left them only with type 1 muscle. So they're as efficient as possible. They weigh very little, and their tiny type 1 muscles can let them run all day long. These people are not healthy metabolically. If you actually do body composition on them, typically they have a higher than desirable amount of body fat, not enough lean mass, bone, and type 2 muscle. This is not a really healthy way to be. On the other hand, if you look at someone who has a maximum intensity sport, like a sprinter, totally jacked, it's because they're contracting every muscle in their body as hard as they possibly can for an extraordinarily brief period of time. These people are solid muscle. Any power lifter, anyone who has very short duration is super high intensity exercise, are much healthier metabolically, have tons of muscle, they look better, and in my experience, most of their lab values are better too. So again, secret to exercise: always trade intensity for duration, always hit failure. I don't care if it's a sprint type exercise or some sort of resistance training like lifting. Go for failure, hit 100%, and it doesn't take very long. I would say do that 2 times a week for most people. Some people recover slow and only need to do it once a week. Other people are faster, maybe 3 times a week. So 1 to 3 times a week. Most people are about twice a week. 5 minutes of a sprint, like jumping rope or sprinting, and then about 15 minutes of maximum effort failure involving the entire body, squats, push and pull, horizontally and vertical. So please don't waste your time on the treadmill or doing cardio. It's a huge time suck. It really makes me sad. You've got to communicate to your body that it's inadequate. Hit failure, maximize the intensity. It's short and it's very effective. I hope that's helpful. Thanks.